All right, let's talk about something here which everybody should be using. Here we have a render. It's quite common. You just have a bunch of chairs in a room. And here it looks fine. I mean, well, the reflection on the wood sucks, but that's simply because it's reflecting black. But anyway, the problem here is, like here on this fabric, you've got this, and you've got the same pattern here, and the same pattern here, and here. And even though you've got the same pattern there, you don't really see it because it's just plain green. So you got to like really look to see that. So the problem here is um, when you have a pattern. And if you have a pattern, then this suddenly becomes a problem. So let's just grab a pattern. All right, so here we have a pattern. Now here you can quite easily see not only does it tile, not only does it tile here, but it also, it's not a seamless texture, but also you've got exactly the same pattern again and again and again and again. So that's a problem. So how do we get around that? And I'm actually just going to put this here just to make it simpler and just delete these. All right. So how do we get around that? Well, first of all, we're just going to handle this mapping problem. And I'm just going to select one of the chairs, turn off the open subdiv. And here, because the line's here and here, like I actually mapped this before, but I don't remember what I did it for. It was for a project a while ago, so. All right, so we fixed the mapping, so that's fine. So the problem here is that it tiles, right? And it's not seamless. So I'm just going to start interactive rendering just so we can see the changes we make, because if I just do them in here, you won't see them. So all we're going to be doing is going into your maps and going into Corona, and we want, here you go, Corona Mapping Randomizer. We can just plug this in here. And fortunately or unfortunately, nothing happens at first. So we can have a look at what this does on the Corona website, and we can also look here at how we're going to be using it. So Corona Mapping Randomizer. Textured objects often show obvious repetitions, which instantly give away the scene is computer generated. You can use the Corona Mapping Randomizer to quickly randomize textures of multiple objects or object parts, making the image appear more realistic. The Corona Mapping Randomizer allows you to apply random offset, rotation, and scaling to textures and procedural maps assigned to different objects, or even to a single object. So you can plug noise into this as well as other procedural maps. The way it works is similar to the Corona multimap. For example, you can randomize a wood texture applied to a set of planks so that each plank has a different look in your final render. You can also apply a blending effect to the randomized texture tiles, which makes them appear even more natural. To enable the mapping randomization, plug any texture into the Corona Mapping Randomizer input slot and then plug its output into a material property. You can then adjust the texture transformations and other options to the desired values. So this basically just goes from 1 to 0. So if I set this at 0.2, we'll see a change with the bird in different places. If I set this to 1, it goes all the way, like basically 1 just means it can completely go from one side to the other. That's like, let me show you. 1 means this is the texture, like it can go from here to here. The randomization can cover the whole thing. If I set this to 0.3, it means there's only like 30% of it that will be random. 0.4 would be 40%, 0.5 will cover 50% of the mapping, 0.7 would be 70%, and so forth. So the steps, I can put this at 0.1, and then it will have like 10%. These will only be like 10% difference. So this one and this one are going to be exactly the same, because 10% would be the bird over here. So those two are the same as well. So if I set this back to 0, yeah, we see now there's some change here and here and here and here, because there's not really any steps. But here we've got the v and the x. So if I set this to 0.2 to 0, I'm looking for the seam coming through. If I put this to 1, you'll see the seam, I'm pretty sure. I don't see any seam. That is bizarre. And z to 1. Okay, I see no seam. But I don't want it to go all the way. I want it to go to like 0.6. And I want this one here to go to 0.6. And all you get is you get randomization of the texture. And so this is exactly what you use it for. You use it so that when you have a texture and you're rendering it, you don't have to worry about if it's seamless, if it has edges, you can just map it in there where the edges are off outside the box, and then you can use this to control. You can use this to control 0.7 to 0. So maybe you need to go, you should be able to put minuses in here. So maybe you need to go like 0.4 to minus 0.4. And then it will adjust, but it shouldn't adjust the edges, force the edges to come over. See here, there's this one here. So like right here, there's an edge. So we can put this to minus 0.4, which is an 80% change in things. Let's see if I put this to 0, does that disappear? Yes. So it is this one. So if I put this one at 0.3, for example, and then minus 0.3, I think, oh, here, I've got this edge coming here, minus 0.2. That's gone. So that's what I mean. You can use it to adjust how far the edges are coming over. There's one here, minus 0.1. Does that make it go? Yeah, that's gone. And if I push this up to 0.4, I'll try 1. 1 should definitely be bringing in the edges. I don't see anything right now. I'm going to put this at 0.6 just to be safe in case there's something there that I don't see. Okay, and then I believe this Z axis isn't doing anything on this. Oops. Point. It could be doing something on the boxes, I'm not sure. So I just leave that one on there. Okay, cool. So here you can see you have this texture and God. So I just saw here the seam came back. So if I put this at 0.5, it should be up here, yeah. 0.4, it should still be right up near the top. I think it's up there. I think you just can't see it. So I'm going to put it at 0.35 just to be safe. Okay. And there you have it. It's seamless and yeah. Every texture is different. And that's really what I wanted to show, that you can easily make every texture different in Corona. And you can do the same in V-Ray. They have a very similar plugin that you can just plug in and do this with. But yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you make it so if you have the same texture, the same pattern texture, it doesn't look like a render. All right, good luck. And I would say that go through this page if you need these different elements. If you want to try some of the different forms, primitive, subprimitive, polygon, if you want to get familiar with these, then go to this page in the chaos documents and take a look at all the different ways this can be used. Take a look at the blending and when and where you would want to use this and its benefits. So have a look at this. So I just wanted to show you this simple tool that you can use to improve your renders. And if you're not already doing it, then you should start doing it.